Alright, so this time you can't cuss at me, no matter how much I deserve it. Should have heard what she was saying. It's like a sailor over here. Okay, so we left off at 2 plus 3i times 5 minus 4i. So anyone who took Algebra 1, I'll be like, multiplying polynomials, that's FOIL. But according to Miss Exie Hall, she uses FLOY, which totally isn't a word. FLOY. So Caitlin's trying out FLOY on her paper. We're going to do FOIL over here like proper students, and we're going to see who's correct. The answer is going to be both of us. Spoiler alert. Okay, so we do first, outer, inner, last. We start with first. 2 times 5, that's 10. Then we do outer. So 2 outermost numbers. So 2 times negative 4i would be negative 8i. Then we do inner. Oops, I missed my underline. Outer, inner. So that'll be 3i times 5. So that'll be 15i. And then our last, our favorite one, because we get exponents out of it, 3i times negative 4i is going to be negative 12i squared. Alright, so then we combine our like terms here. So negative 8i plus 15i is positive 7i. We bring everything else down, so there's 10 minus 12i squared. Right, now we can simplify a little bit here. We know I squared is negative 1, so it's going to be negative 12 times negative 1. Yeah, let's just write the rest out. We have time. So negative 12 times negative 1 is positive 12 plus 7i plus 10. We can combine our constants here. So 10 plus 12 is 20. Whoops. It's 22 plus 7i, or 7i plus 22. What'd you get over there with FLOY? Same thing. So what's the difference between the two? FLOY sounds stupid. Okay? So I'm going to continue to use FOIL. Okay. We're almost there. Home stretch. Except I'm not sure about those last two. Those are going to be a pain. But this one's going to be easy. I looked ahead. So we have negative 8 minus 7i. Oh, they're just trying to be jerks. It's like, let's see how many negative signs we can put in this one problem. Minus 2 minus 13i. Now, if you were like just looking at it real quickly, you'd be like, oh, this is just FOIL. But no, because we're not multiplying polynomials here. We are minusing, subtracting. I made the kids stop saying plus, because they'd be like, you just plus those numbers. I was like, add. Okay, so we're not actually using FOIL or FLOY. We're just subtracting these two. So we're going to distribute out this negative, and then this is going to be super easy. So negative times 2 is negative 2. Negative 13i is going to be positive 13i. And all this stuff over here is just going to be this stuff over here. It doesn't even need to be in parentheses. So now we just collect our like terms here. So negative 7i and positive 13i is going to be positive 6i. If we take our constants, negative 8 and negative 2, two negatives combined to be more negatives, so it's just going to be 6i minus 10. What'd you get? Same thing. No, I'm pretty sure I always do this incorrectly. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be negative 10 plus 6i. Because I think imaginary numbers have a lesser degree than constants. It just, I don't know, because it doesn't occur to me to think of it that way. Not that it really matters, but it probably looks more professional this way. It'd probably be more professional if I wasn't yawning while I talked, huh?
Yeah.
Whatever. It's late. It's 10:15. I'm doing homework. Alright. I studied up on how to do these last two. I'm still probably going to get it wrong. But we're going to try. Okay? So we have...
We just do them by negative I.
Yeah. Oh, you already know how to do this. I don't know why I'm here. Probably could have done all this. I know, but I'm saying, if you had notes, you could have done this homework without me. Is that 2i on the bottom? 2i?
Yes, yes, sir.
Dos ojos?
Yes.
Okay. So I, since that's the square root of negative 1, that's a radical, which means you don't want radicals in your denominator, so we want to get rid of them. So it's the same idea as before, as we want to multiply it by something itself. And now your whoa. Your immediate thought would be to put positive I over positive I. Because, you know, I times I gets rid of the square root. The problem is that would be I squared, and I squared is a negative number. And so we're going to end up with a negative in our denominator. That's sort of a pain too, because you'd end up simplifying that anyway. So what we do instead is this crazy little trick. Instead of multiplying by positive I, we multiply by negative I. And we're going to see why this works out in just a second. Alright, so let's do the bottom first. So 2i times negative I will be
negative 2i squared.
Negative 2i squared.
Right?
Right. And then I squared is negative 1. So you have negative 2 times negative 1, which guess what? Is positive. So as long as this constant started out positive, you'd multiply it by a negative I. The opposite would be true if this was negative 2i. Then we could have done it by a positive, because then we would have been doing negative 2 times negative 1, and that's 3 negatives. I mean, practice, you'll see that. Hopefully. So this is going to end up being 2i times negative I just equals 2. Woohoo! Okay, now the top part. This is a little bit of distributive property here, because it's all of this times negative I.
So it'll not be a negative 3i?
Right, so we'd end up, let's do this in blue.
Here, pause it real quick.
Pause it real quick. What, are you in control now? Are you like Spielberg? Never mind, she says. Alright, so we're going to distribute this out. So negative I times 3 is negative 3i. Negative 7i times negative I is going to be positive 7i squared. Alright. I squared, hopefully we know by now, is negative 1. So you could probably, once you see this enough times, as soon as you see I squared, is you just think, I'm going to get rid of I squared and I'm just going to change the sign of whatever's in front of it. Because really that's all you're doing. You're multiplying it by negative 1. So you have negative 7. Oh, whoa, I don't know why I put a plus in there. Why is it positive 7?
Because it's a negative times a positive.
Right.
No, it's a negative times a negative.
Look. It was a negative.
Yeah.
Because negative 7i times negative I is positive 7i squared. But I squared is negative 1.
Oh,
so
you're talking about the afterwards.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm way ahead of you. I'm like light speeds.
Oh, wait.
Don't start with me. I know what I'm doing.
Negative I squared, but the 3 was just...
3i. Negative 3i.
Yeah, it was just 3i, so...
Yeah, you leave that.
I was supposed to 3.
Uh-huh. Yeah, don't mess with that. So this is just going to be negative 7 minus 3i.
And we can't do anything else?
No. I mean, we could divide this out, but 2 doesn't go into 7 or 3. So not a whole lot you can do with that. Okay, last one. Almost home.
So we do this minus the by what?
Let's look. So what is it?
5 plus 2y over 4 minus 3y.
Oh, I hate these. I hate these with real numbers.
And then we just times it times the negative again, right? So we have what did the book say?
The book says what I figured. I was hoping there'd be an easier way, but there's not. So we're gonna need FOIL here. Yeah. So we want to get rid of I. So what we do is we multiply this. Instead of 4 minus 3i, we're going to times that by 4 plus 3i. And we could talk about complex conjugate and all that noise. Or you can just trust that this is going to work. So we're going to have 4 minus 3i times 4 plus 3i. So we use FOIL. Yeah, I know, that's what I said. That's why I don't like these. So 4 times 4. We're just doing the bottom here. So this is 16. We do the outer. So 4 times positive 3 is positive 12i. And then we do the inner. Here's the cool part. We do the inner, we say negative 3i times 4 is
12i.
negative 12.
Yeah, and it cancels out.
That cancels out, which is the whole point of having to multiply by all this mess. Alright, and then last. So negative 3 times positive 3 is going to be negative 9i squared. Okay. So why is it okay to have I squared left over?
Because it's like, because it's squared, it has 2 numbers, and that way you can
What?
make it one number.
What's I squared?
I squared is negative 1.
Is negative 1. We're okay with that because that's just a number. There's no more i's. So we want to get rid of all the i's. So positive 12, negative 12, this cancels out. Bah, go away forever. Okay, 16. Negative 9 times I squared is just negative 9 times negative 1, which is positive 9. So this whole big old mess, 4 minus 3i times 4 plus 3i, just equals, to the sheer fundamentals of math, equals 25. Get excited.
Yeah, baby.
Which is the sum of the squares, 4 squared plus 3 squared. Which is always going to work because it's just really the sum of the first and the last.
5 times 4 is 20.
So I shouldn't care about that. It's like, I don't want to know that. That's finish this. Blah. Top part isn't going to clean up as nice. That's okay. So 5 times 4 is 20. Outer, 5 times 3i, 15i.
Why'd you make it 9? Oh wait, never mind.
Okay. Stop messing with me. Inner, 2i times 4 is 8i. And then 2i times positive 3i is going to be 6i squared. Okay. So combine your like terms. 23 i's and 20 and 6i squared. But what can we do with 6i squared? She's never going to remember that I squared is negative 1.
Negative 1.
I squared is negative 1. Every
Wait
time.
a minute. How come it came 25?
What?
A number.
This one? 16 plus 9.
There wasn't any. Oh yeah, 'cause they canceled out.
Yeah. I was trying to explain that to you, and you're like, I don't care. Math is so stupid. I don't need this to go to the mall. Life's more than the mall.
Where are we at?
We're simplifying this. So 6 times -1 is
-6.
-6. And everything else just gets to stay the same. 23i plus 20. So then we just combine our constants here. So 20 minus 6 is
20 minus 6.
it's not a trick question.
25.
20
24.
minus 6.
It's 24.
Dude,
24. Right?
how is 20 minus 6 more than 20? If I
Oh, that's 14.
Didn't you go to training? Like, imagine if I give you a $20 bill to pay for my $6 worth of groceries, you're gonna give me $24 back in change? You're gonna lose your job. Huh. How do I know you? So 14 plus 23i, that's the total sum of our numerator here. Plus 23i. It's nothing really to simplify there. Not much. Alright, so that's it. So I mean, that's a lot of steps, but really the only thing you have to remember is you just change the sign of I, whatever this I term is, and you multiply by the same thing, only with a different sign there.
Yeah.
That way the
And
I's
then you
all
FOIL.
cancel out. I bet you could do this on your calculator. Does your calculator have an I button?
I'm not allowed to use calculators in my class.
That's so lame. Alright, well there you go. Go Khan Academy, look at simplifying. There's no Y in simplifying. Polynomials. There's a Y in polynomials. Or you could look up, you can Google FOIL, and you can learn about that. That's really the skill you need to know. On top of, you know, your Forest timetable. Wait, let's see.
See what?
Let's look up Floy versus FOIL. Never mind. Alright, good night.
Come up.
Good night.